Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going over orchestrated mountain blends. We're going to be using a couple of things to learn about tints, to learn about colors, to learn about composition, and just figure out how to look at nature in a different way through layering. Now, these are the materials you're going to need. Just 3 colors today. We're using a blue. I chose blue, but you can choose any color you like. We're going to look at a black and a white, which are our balance colors. Then you're going to need a picture of a mountain. And I've chosen this one here and also outline the colors. But once I show you how to do the layers, it'll be easy to fill in. So the first thing we need to look at is our composition, right? So with all our tools put together at this point, what we do is we start off looking at tints and shades, the composition, and then we set the lines by layering. So at first I'm looking at my image in order to line out the composition. So we're looking at a bunch of lines today and the spacings between them, right? But also there's a horizon line that goes straight through the middle. It helps me kind of break up the composition and look at the canvas to understand where the parts are and where the colors are going to be. So looking at the image, I see the first layer of the mountain. It's going to come in here. And I just take my time. Now I'm doing it on the whiteboard so you can see it a little more clearly. And that one is going to be my negative. So this one here that I have off to the side, that's the color that's coming into this space here. All right? Then I look up again and I pick another layer, another line that connects. I can kind of just lay that in slowly, following it, taking my time, so that way I get all those details that a mountain has. And that one would be my next color. So I'm going to layer that one in blue. And there's a bunch of blues, but I'm going to do it this way so you can see it clearly. That's one blue. That would be our second layer right there, right? Again, I go back to my resource and I look at the mountains to figure out where my line that's next connects. And we'll start on the outside here. I think it's the easiest way to put this puzzle together. And I just go across and put that one in. Now again, that's going to be another blue one, but you can see I have a range of blues. We're going to go over that today, the way tints are, how to make them lighter, how to make them darker. But for this, I'm going to put X's so you'll see a different color, or that you know that that's a different layer that we're putting up there. All right? Put that down again. Look at my resource. Here we go again. I pick where the point is, or the axis of the mountains, and I go up. Slowly looking at all the lines, checking out where the crevices or the canyons are, and then stopping to double check myself just to make sure I'm doing what I want. Okay, so that one's in. That would be my last blue. So I'm going to put that one with little dots so you can see it. Right? So here so far, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, including the last layer that's white. And that's basically the sky that we've left open. But even there, I've mixed a color. And it'll show you later how a lighter color can be applied, right? So this one is my white. But it's not completely white. It's got a little bit of blue to it, which adds that slight hue of the sky that I wanted. Now, you might ask yourself how I did that. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. So now that you have your composition set and you can see everything and where it needs to be placed, we're getting to the point to learn about tints and shades. So tints and shades are pretty easy. And the way you start off is just by 3 colors. Now we're going to take it lighter and then we're going to take it darker. But we always start with the middle or the base color. So for the color that I'm doing today from my resource, I'm using the blue. I'm going to set that into the middle, right? And slowly I'm going to show you how I do this. Now from here, once I have the blue in the middle, all I have to do is go to the left or to the right. And what I mean by that is if I want to make it darker, I can slowly add and mix from that. So let's do that. I'm going to grab a smaller flat brush, and we're going to be using a bunch of flat brushes today in different ways. What I do is now I take from that light blue or whatever color I have there, move it off to the side, and then from there I add a little bit of white. Right? And that's going to give me a lighter blue because I'm adding white to it. And as I go, if I make enough of this, I could take it to the next spot and add more white that makes it even more lighter, right? And the hue gets lighter and lighter and lighter as I go to the left, okay? Using white from the prime color or the main color that we're using. Then if I want to go darker or get a shade, this is called a tint when we go lighter. When we go to the right, all right, I'm going to start with the blue again, pulling from the same color that I did with the white, but this time I'm going to add a little bit of black. Now, as I mix that, it's going to get darker, okay? And you want to be careful. Now, if there is too much, add a little bit more blue to find out what your next color is going to be. You can always lighten this up now because you're going darker by adding blue. But if I want to make it darker than that, once I have the hue that I like here or the shade that I like here, I pull it again, make a new batch of whatever I mix there, and just add a little bit more black until it becomes what the tint or the shade is, which is ultimately black on the right. And then as we go to the left, it'll be white, because that's the lightest color that we can do, right? And then on the other side, it's the darkest. So the lightest is the white, the darkest is the black, and what we're looking at is our balance color that's in the middle. And as you can see, you can make a range of colors. There's billions of blues out there in the world that you can make. So that's the range of tints and shadows that you can do just from one color using the balance colors of white and black. All right? So once that happens, I've taken all these colors, I go back and I've collected these little containers and numbered them. And the reason why I did that is so that when I get to a point to paint, I have the exact color I like. I know the layer that it's going to be. Let me put the number to it. This one is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? All the way up, and you can see I start with the darkest down here and go up to the lightest, which is number 5. Well, I do that also on my jars. Each one is numbered, so I know where it goes. I won't make a mistake saying, is that the blue I had, or is that the blue I had? I do know which one it is because I've numbered it, and they've all been kept. Plus, later on, if I want to add more or keep this paint, I have my own blues I've created, my own tints, and my own shadows. So that means I've made my own colors, and nobody else has them but me. All right? So from this point, then I get my canvas, and I start off with the sketch, and then begin the drawing. So now that I've got my drawing in, I can double check it, make changes. If I want something higher or lower in the layers, that's okay. This is my opportunity to do that. Now I'm using a flat brush, and as I start applying the paint, I'm going to start with the number 1, okay? And it's a flat brush. I'm not going to use a lot of water on my brush. I'm going to come in and start layering, cutting with the line. So if you're using a flat brush, you start off at the line and pull away from it. because that way you're not running into the other spaces and you're able to apply the paint evenly without going over the line. Now, as I get into the bigger spaces, that's when I rotate my brush to get a bit larger paddle of the paint and be able to smooth out all these lines and get an even coat of the color. And that's very important. You might want to go back once or twice, but the first color, put on enough paint, or the first layer, put on enough paint so that you don't have to go over too many times. Now, that doesn't mean you leave a bunch of globs. It means you go back, take your time, and fan it out. That's what this is called. But as I approach to the line, remember, I'm rotating back straight to the razor. I'm using the end of the brush, going to the line, and then pulling away from it. That makes it so I don't go in to the other spaces. All right, so as I go on, I'm going to start filling in the rest of these so you can see how I'm doing it, color by color, layer by layer. Okay, so here's our orchestra finished, completed. Now, it might take you a couple of passes, but it's well worth it. Plus, we learned about the tints and the shadows. We learned about layers. We learned about composition. And if you wanted to do a final detail, you can paint the sides like I did here. That way, if people see it from another angle, it looks complete and finished. So I hope you had a good time. And again, if you have something great, send us a picture. We'd love to see it. All right, take care, guys. Have fun.